As boxing continues its journey as one of the most challenging and brutal sports in the world, 2014 marked another great year for the art of pugilism. We were treated to upsets, sensational knockouts, surprising performances, and perhaps most importantly, the beginning of the end of boxing's Cold War, which had cast a dark shadow over the sport for so many years.
The rise over love, over hate, through this silent sky, from the dark minds, over fear,
20 seconds
freedom.
And to celebrate the last 12 months, BehindTheGloves.com and Guerrilla Productions have teamed up once again to bring you our top 5 fights of 2014. We hope you enjoy. Number 5. FROCH versus George Groves 2. In November of 2013, British boxing witnessed a dramatic super middleweight clash between two of its most bitter enemies. George Groves, the heavy underdog, mounted a ferocious challenge on FROCH that very few believed he was capable of. Battered and bruised, FROCH would show resilience and frightening recuperating abilities to not only weather the onslaught, but narrowly escape the jaws of defeat with a highly controversial stoppage win. The public were outraged and the demand for a rematch spread like wildfire. George Groves would use his newfound respect to provoke FROCH back into the ring, and on May 31st in London, an astonishing 80,000 fans packed Wembley Stadium to create the biggest boxing event in Britain since the Second World War. Having experienced each other's punching power in the first encounter, the two combatants opted for a more cautious start to the fight, toying and prodding each other with repeated jabs. And with Groves seemingly getting the better of the early tactical affair, FROCH adjusted his game plan by round 5 and began forcing Groves to fight at a more frantic pace.
Hard right hand by FROCH. Momentarily wobbled Groves. FROCH trying to go to the body and follow up. Groves trying to go back to that precise counterpunching, and he lands another right hand. Crowd rises for that hard right hand. Good body shots by FROCH. Hard left hook by George Groves. Not to trade as frequently with FROCH.
And has had a much better round as a result, although here's FROCH at it again.
Yeah,
this quick shift in momentum then led to a moment that will forever be etched into the memory of British sports fans. Maneuvering his opponent against the ropes, FROCH would put an end to the fierce rivalry with a perfectly timed punch on the unprotected jaw of George Groves, sending him crashing to the canvas and unable to beat the count.
In the center of the ring now. Oh, good and right down hand. Goes Groves on a perfect right hand shot. And the referee's going to stop the fight.
Whilst the fight wasn't as action-packed as the first, the monster of a boxing spectacle and the manner in which the whole saga was concluded gave us fight fans one of the best nights of the year.
I don't think any controversy this time.
It was a heck of a shot.
That was a smart fight by FROCH.
Number 4. Francisco Rodriguez Jr., unanimous decision over KATSUNARI Takayama. Our next fight on the list doesn't feature any well-known blockbuster names. It didn't take place in the prestige of Las Vegas or glamour of New York, and it wasn't televised on Showtime or HBO. Instead, it took place in the intense and bustling atmosphere of Mexico, and it involved the sport's smallest of competitors. Already billed as a potential fight of the year candidate, the superb KATSUNARI Takayama and the relentless Francisco Rodriguez Jr. both put their IBF and WBO world strawweight titles on the line. And living up to the expectations, it turned out to be a classic boxer versus brawler encounter. The quicker and more mobile Takayama was aiming to counter on the back foot, but the assertiveness of Rodriguez came to fruition in the third round when scored knockdown with a left hook.
Pero bien cerradita la guardia y al piso se va Takayama, señores. Clase de zurdazo. El que le conectó el
The brave Japanese fighter felt an increased sense of urgency to make up for the deficit. and would contribute to an amazing, high-paced fight by outthrowing and outlanding the Mexican in the preceding round.
Todo y esté de vuelta porque el boxeo necesita de muchachos como Mikey. Ataca Takayama, se defiende como puede el Chihuahua, cuidado porque lo tiene sobre las cuerdas.
But the more physical Rodriguez ultimately took advantage of the fight that would swing back and forth in a grueling 12 rounds. His heavier, more powerful shots proved to be too much for Takayama's higher work rate, and the judges awarded him a hard-earned unanimous decision.
Puro Monterrey, Nuevo León. Francisco Rodriguez.
Number 3, Terence Crawford versus YURIOAKIS Gamboa. Fresh off of a dominating performance over the respectable Ricky Burns in Scotland, Terence Crawford brought his newly captured WBO lightweight title back to his beloved city of Omaha, Nebraska. Blessed with great fundamentals and an awkward switch-hitting style, Terence Crawford was earning the powerful backing of Top Rank and HBO Sports with the hope of becoming a major attraction in his hometown. And the stage was set. 11,000 screaming fans were being treated to a world title fight for the first time in 42 years. Huge pressure was being placed on the young shoulders of the Omaha native, who was fighting in front of his adoring followers for the first time in his professional career. And who did they decide to test his mettle against? The sensational undefeated Cuban, YURIOAKIS Gamboa, a former unified featherweight title holder out to prove a point. And right from the opening bell, his elite boxing skills were immediately on display, with his beautiful footwork and blistering hand speed winning him the first 3 rounds with ease.
Gamboa has the kind of speed that upsets your expectations. Like that.
You might have saw something bad.
Well, but Crawford landed a little left hand
Like
there,
this.
switched to southpaw. And Gamboa lands a left hook and a right hand.
But remaining ever so calm and having full faith in his switch-hitting approach, Terence Crawford began having success by forcing the Cuban into a more tactical brawl.
Another hard left hand by Crawford.
And by the 5th round, Gamboa was lured into a fateful trap that would see him taste the Omaha fighter's power for the first time.
It also indicates that. Good shot.
Hard counter shot by Terence Crawford. Down goes Gamboa. Tremendous right hand shot as Gamboa was coming in.
With his original game plan of boxing and moving in total jeopardy, Gamboa would make things worse for himself by going to war with the bigger, stronger opponent. This kamikaze approach inevitably led to another visit to the canvas in round 8, before setting up a dramatic finale in the following round, sending the 11,000 home fans into a complete frenzy.
Rodriguez got to be very careful about
Crawford going.
hurt Gamboa is now.
Crawford going home run shots, bringing them up from the floor, and Gamboa coming forward. That was a great fight. Great fight.
Number 2, Orlando Salido versus TERDSAK KOKIETGYM. It's a phenomenon that at 34 years of age and bearing the scars of endless battles with the world-class opposition, Orlando Salido still manages to be a menace to anyone who stands in the opposite corner. Coming off a victory over the highly regarded Vasyl Lomachenko for the vacant WBO featherweight title, the Mexican brawler moved up in weight to challenge Thai veteran TERDSAK KOKIETGYM. And never one to shy away from trouble, Orlando Salido immediately went on the offensive, even if it would mean taking a trip to the canvas from a left hook in the middle of an exchange. Not even a minute had passed in the first round, and the precedent was set, with Salido returning the favor moments later with a knockdown of his own. And thus began a series of thrilling exchanges and back-and-forth action, with both fighters taking it in turns to send each other to the floor with unrelenting assaults to the head and body.
cerrarle el ring, buscarlo.
Y ahí está, ese es el momento.
10 grueling rounds would eventually pass, and the war of attrition was only going to benefit one man. Salido, using all the years of experience of fighting in the trenches, chopped and beat down the Thai warrior to the point where, in the 11th round, he would send him crashing to the canvas for the final time.
No hay que descuidarse.
Number 1. Lucas Matthysse versus John Molina. Lucas the Machine Matthysse, one of the sport's finest knockout artists and a favorite amongst hardcore boxing enthusiasts. His devastating 6-fight knockout streak came to a high-profiled end in September 2013 when he lost a unanimous decision to the 140-pound king, Danny Garcia. And eager to bounce back, he entered 2014 with the aim of re-establishing his eminence in the light welterweight division. His new opponent, however, had other plans. Being a renowned knockout puncher himself, John Molina enjoyed a renewed sense of confidence after upsetting top prospect Mickey Bay with the dramatic stoppage win in the dying seconds of the final round. And this positive frame of mind carried right into the opening round as he stamped his authority by making the iron chin of Matthysse taste power like never before.
That feeling out process. Oh, good right hand.
And Molina backs up. Matthysse tags him with the right hand. Matthysse along the ropes.
And with less than a minute left in the second round, his no-nonsense approach was aptly rewarded with a solid knockdown.
Absorbed it. And now Matthysse goes down. Second time in his career.
The crowd was barely settled in their seats, and Molina was already tearing up the script. A huge upset was on the cards. Fears were immediately spreading of Matthysse possibly being ruined by the Danny Garcia defeat, as Molina continued to enjoy more success in the following round. A desperate urge was required on Matthyisse's part to suppress Molina's unexpected rebellion, and in the fourth round, the Argentine slugger started working behind the jab to eventually finding a home for his power
To
shots.
see a lot more of what they're getting thus far, as do all of us.
Great overhand right by Matthysse. He's coming on strong this round.
Jab right. Matthysse getting it on here.
Lucas Matthysse finally appeared to have gotten command of the fight, but in the final minute of the sixth round, Molina's sudden power once again surprised everyone in attendance with another knockdown.
Got to the center of the ring. Molina did.
Oh, and down goes Matthysse with another right hand. He is pleading his case, and it was a shot behind his head.
Without knowing how far behind on the scorecards he was, and being up against an opponent who was equally as dangerous as himself, Lucas Matthysse found himself in the biggest crisis of his career. The increasing need for him to score knockdowns of his own, combined with Molina's audacious attempts to push for a stoppage win, led to some sensational yet brutal exchanges for the next 3 rounds.
A really good angle. Oh, good left hook from Molina.
Matthysse trying to establish the jab.
Great overhand right.
Right hand over the top by Molina. Final minutes. Right hand by Molina. And Molina putting the pressure on the top.
This is as good as boxing gets. Both men going back, toe-to-toe, back and forth, in the center of the ring, fans going crazy. I'm excited about this fight, guys.
By the end of the 8th round, Matthysse was familiarizing and absorbing Molina's attacks with more confidence. And keeping faith in his own punching power, he eventually sent an exhausted Molina sprawling to the canvas for the first time.
I'm looking at Molina's face, and it seems to be just a bit gassed.
And Matthysse and Molina goes down. And the referee's ruling it a knockdown.
The course of the fight had changed completely. The unforgiving Matthysse turned up his relentless assault in the following round, and Molina's brave showing was finally being subdued. He would fall victim to another violent rain of punches towards the end of the 10th round, before being hounded in the opening seconds of the 11th and put on his back for good.
You know, Al, it goes down. It seems to be over.
And that is it. A tremendous fight ends with the very valiant and game John